If you can't volunteer, you can donate. And if you can't donate, you can advocate. Social media, get the word out. But so there's always something. So I always go with that tier, adopt,
Yeah.
foster, volunteer, donate, advocate. There's always something you can do if you love dogs, but aren't sure that you have the time or the energy.
First of all, I want to say you have one of the coolest jobs ever. You work with animals. I went to your website and saw your story, but you actually were a referee. You got fired for being too nice. Is that true?
Yeah. I'm too soft on the players. I wasn't fit for humans. You know what I'm saying? Like human players don't always appreciate a cuddle after a touchdown. I know it's hard to believe, but no, it happens. I'm really cut out for animals because I am too much of a pushover. That's not to say that I don't call a foul when it's deserved during puppy bowls. Let's be clear about that. I know some lately, if you're following American football, some of the referees have been their calls have been questioned, especially if you're from Buffalo. That will not be happening at this year's Puppy Bowl, I assure you.
Is it the fairest referee sport in ever, pretty
I
much?
think so. I think so. You listen, we don't have any underdogs. They're all overdogs as far as I'm concerned. They all are winners in my book. So clearly there's some bias, but my bias is spread evenly across each and every player. I always say that. Like, so it's people are like, do you have favorites? Yes, they're all my favorites. They're every single one. So
Oh,
yeah, that's how it works. That's not to say that if they're distracting or taking too long a drink in the water bowl or slumbering on the sidelines or pooping in the end zone that we're not going to call a foul because, got it.
no, is there any issue? Look, I have a stray cat shirt on. Let's
Hmm.
be real. Is there any issue with the kitty pass halftime and the puppy bowl? Is there like egos or anything like that?
No, thankfully they're actually shot on separate times. So
Oh,
we do
thank
not.
God.
Yes, 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 yes. So for everyone's yeah, peace of mind. They're shot separately. So we keep them separate so that way egos don't mix. But among the kitties themselves, there's a couple of divas that want a little extra stage time. So, but that's okay. We just, we give them their time and then we'll fix it in post.
I'm going to ask you a serious question because I think this is really, I think it's really beautiful that you get this. You're clearly an animal lover. Where did this come from for you, and how did this opportunity happen?
Sure. I was raised, my family had dogs, dachshunds actually growing up, and my whole family, even going back to my grandparents, had dachshunds. And I had this job. So see, I worked for Discovery on the production side right out of college. I went to school for a t television production. And then when I graduated, like I say, I worked for Discovery, and then I started, let's see, on the on-camera side, maybe 5 years after that, just doing 1 hour specials, things like that, small things.
Yeah.
But around Puppy Bowl 8, which was 14 years ago, they needed somebody. They had a referee, but the referee was more just like somebody who stood there in a uniform. They needed somebody to do what I'm doing, which is be more of a spokesperson. And since
Yeah.
I had the broadcast experience and experience as a host, they had me audition. And yeah, here I am 14 years later.
What was the audition like? I have to know.
Well, there was no official audition because how do you blueprint this thing, right? So,
Yeah.
there's no formula. There's no re nothing on my resume would indicate me as a good candidate. So they said, make an audition video and see what you got. So, again, no blueprint. So I did go into New York City dog parks and officiate fake games between dogs. I went to pet stores and tried to interact with the dogs and hamsters. At the time I didn't have a dog, but let's see, I had fish and two small children. So I said, well, this is kind of like having puppies because, they basically are both untrained and and young. So there were a lot of parallels, but I cobbled it all together into an audition video, which exists somewhere. I think it's on YouTube. And yeah, and they hired me right after that, and here we are, 14 years later.
I mean, it's such a fun thing to be involved in too. 'Cause you're just around puppies. Do you like, are there certain things about that you want to see grow or change? Or do has it been pretty much is it a working program?
It is. It's constantly evolving. We're always finding new and exciting ways to up the ante and to challenge ourselves. And this year is no exception. I mean, we have 142 dogs, which is our most amount of dogs ever, representing 80 different shelters across 40 states. That's a record for us. We've never had that many states represented. We've never had that many. First of all, we got 11 special needs dogs as well. We've never had numbers like this. It's incredible for us. We've expanded from a 2 hour show to a 3 hour show. Now we have a pregame show. Well, we've always had a pregame, but now we have a kickoff that's part of the main event. And if you tune into the kickoff, which is at 1 p.m. Eastern, you'll get to see how we draft our dogs for Puppy Bowl. So you'll get to see them go through a skills test, combine, and then eventually get drafted for our final 10 draft spots. So it's almost a 4 hour event now. So yeah, watching it grow has been incredible.
How are the dogs? I mean, do they all? That's because you take them. You they are sheltered. Some of them, any of them?
Are they from shelters? Is that what you
Yeah.
asked? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all from rescues and shelters across the country. Every
Oh.
single one of them's up for adoption. Yeah.
Does it? Do you see a difference? Have you seen a difference in the years you've been doing it that the adoption rates are rising and people are actually taking these dogs in?
Yeah. So every single one of the dogs on Puppy Bowl gets adopted. Again, it's national television. It's not that hard, right?
Sure.
But
Yeah.
their siblings that are also in the shelters, or even their parents, or just the shelters themselves, report a huge uptick in the days, weeks, and months following Puppy Bowl. So that's the really incredible part is that the spirit continues after our game is over.
Well, the thing, because I think I'll be honest, I haven't been in the know of Puppy Bowl until I did, my doing my research here. But my sister is a huge Puppy Bowl fan, so I didn't know where the dogs came from. I didn't know, and this is so it's all new to me. And I love the fact that you have special needs dogs. What brought that on?
Simply to clear the shelters. The same mission that we've had from day one is to, support our rescues. And what we've seen both in life and in reports from our rescues is that, man, the puppies, yeah, they go quickly. It's not hard to adopt out a beautiful puppy, but their parents or the special needs, maybe there's a sibling that is missing a leg or was born with, some eye deformity or something, that requires extra help and is a bit of a challenge, they really need to get adopted. And so what can we do? And that we just showcase them like any other player. And it's been great. We have 11, like I said, this year. Trio, who's missing a leg, doing amazing, by the way. Look for him. Sprinkle is deaf and sight impaired. And Jolene is in a wheelchair. But again, these are just like any other puppies, playing football, having a great time.
How does the kickoff go? Like I'm just trying to picture that in my head.
Oh, so you've never actually seen the Puppy Bowl? Wow,
No,
let me
this is
tell you, my
new to
friend,
me,
you
man.
will enjoy it. Tune in on Sunday at 2 o'clock, and all your questions will be answered. But it is the kickoff is well, we flip a coin, and we
Okay.
determine who's going to kick off, who's going to receive, and then from there on, the game begins. Now, dogs can't throw a ball, but they can kick a ball and they can carry a ball, right? And they can push a ball with their snout. So there's really three ways of handling it: pushing, kicking, and carrying. And between that, trust me, the ball gets moved down to the end zone, and there's more touchdowns. We have very high scoring games. Last year's final score was 72 to 69. So there's a lot of offense.
I love the energy that you have. And have you actually ever adopted a dog from your own from this program?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Oh.
after fostering. I fostered dogs in Puppy Bowl many, many years, and then last year I adopted a dog out of Puppy Bowl, and it was great. Yeah, best decision I ever made.
Well, I saw you. I when I was doing the research, I saw that you push for fostering. How do people get involved? Because I'm sure that someone may be watching this going, "Oh, well, I didn't know I could foster a dog. If I can't necessarily have a dog, I can take care of the dog." How do they do that?
Well, I always say, if you want to get involved, you want to make a difference, if you're thinking about helping a dog or you want a dog yourself, always consider adopting first. If you can't have time, don't have time, energy to adopt, you can always foster. Fostering is a way to bring a dog into your home, test drive the experience, support the shelter that's in need. You're really saving two lives: the life that you're bringing in and the room you're making in the shelter for the new dog.
Yeah.
And there's no commitment. If the dog, if it's not a match, that's okay. The shelter will help adopt the dog out, but in the meantime, you've made room in the shelter for them to take in a new one. So fostering, so you can adopt, you can foster. If you can't foster, you can volunteer. That also gives you exposure to many different dogs and gives you that experience that is so important if you're trying to learn which dog might be right for you. If you can't volunteer, you can donate. And if you can't donate, you can advocate. Social media, get the word out. But so there's always something. So I always go with that tier, adopt,
Yeah.
foster, volunteer, donate, advocate. There's always something you can do if you love dogs, but aren't sure that you have the time or the energy.
How many dogs do you have personally?
One. I
Just
can only
one.
handle I can only handle one.
Okay.
I know my limits.
Oh, that's so cute. What kind of dog is it? I have to know.
It's like a little tiny poodle mix that we rescued last year from a rescue in Amish country, Pennsylvania, from
Wow.
it's a very bad breeder situation. She was rescued from a not so reputable breeder. So yeah,
It saddens me that we hear so much of that, but at the same time, I'm hearing what you guys are doing, and I've been aware of the Puppy Bowl for all these years, but it's really eye-opening to know that they're helping so many dogs.
you're
I had
very kind to say that. Thank you. Yeah,
oh,
we're trying. We're trying. Yeah, little by little, we think we make an impact.
how do you see it going? I mean, obviously, there's a tie-in with the big game, and people are excited about that. How do you find a way to promote this and get people to, you know, cheer for both, I guess you can say, the Super Bowl and the Puppy Bowl.
By our airtime, if we were on at the same time as the Super Bowl, that would be a challenge.
Yeah,
But we don't want America to choose. It's both. So you can catch us at 2 p.m. and then the big game. Well, we think we're the big game, but the big
you are.
human game at 6 o'clock. And what winds up happening is continues to happen over years is people will have a Super Bowl party, but then sort of pregame with us. We like to think of ourselves as America's best pregame moment, right? Like, is it brings everybody together. It doesn't matter if you're rooting for the Eagles or the Chiefs, or if you don't care at all. You can
Yeah.
come together and watch and support Puppy Bowl. It's feel good from everyone from grandma down to like the littlest, kid in your family.
Well, I love it too. Yeah, and I've heard that, I've gotten that from my sister. She's like, "Well, I'm watching the Puppy Bowl, then the game starts." And it's so amazing and lovely that you do this. What are you most excited about this year's game?
I love the pregame kickoff show that I mentioned because we've never done anything like that before. Um, a lot of people have asked me over the years, like, well, how do you draft these dogs?
Yeah.
Um, so for us to be able to showcase what it takes, and again, it's not that complicated, right? We love all dogs, but it's to show them in a skills competition and to have the anticipation and the drama of the final 10 draft slots and seeing who's going to actually get drafted. I think I'm maybe most excited about that because it kind of completes the process.
Yeah.
In knowing these last 10 dogs, we're also going to know their backstories, why they were either surrendered or rescued, how they came to be a homeless dog in need of a home. So
Yeah.
we get a little, we get emotional too. It's going to be great.
Are you guys gonna be like playing the Sarah McLachlan Angel song at any point?
No, no. She's got them cornered the market on that song
He
then.
really has.
ESPN's got that one. All theirs.
No, I love what you do, and for this particular year, I know I believe a pug won last year, correct?
The Moosh one. Yeah, Moosh
Which
was
one? Yeah, yeah. So who are the favorites this year, do you think?
Well, favorites are the ones, it's hard because there's the top scorers, which we won't know until the game airs,
Yeah,
but
fair
there's the
enough.
ones that are getting very popular simply because they have a lot of buzz, and are really linked to human players. So like Saquon, we have Saquon Barkley in human football, but Saquon Barkley is getting a lot of traction in puppy football. We've also got Josh Allen in human football. We've got Paws Allen, who's also got a huge fan base in Buffalo, and so on and so forth. But also look out for the special needs dogs, like I mentioned. Trio's a three-legged dog. A lot of
Okay.
people love him. Mr. Pickles, just a Brussels Griffon that's got a really cute smushed up face. Look out for him. And yeah, I would look out for those three.
Oh my God. You know what? I think
Thank
I'm going
you.
to watch the Puppy Bowl this year.
I
I
hope
think
so.
you got me. I mean, what else do you, because I know you're an actor. How much does acting kind of go
Nah,
into what you do?
nah, it hasn't. Yeah, I know. I've done some small roles and stuff from time to
Yeah.
But no, there's not much acting involved here. It's all me because really my concentration is in, broadcast in hosting. So it's just presenting a true version of yourself, right? And presenting information. That's something I think I'm good at. When I don't do this, I'm also a voiceover announcer. So I'm just always like in my life presenting information and as truthfully and as, authentically as possible. So yeah, not too much acting anymore. It's all pretty real.
Well, that's kind of cool though. I love what you're
Thanks.
doing, man. I think it's amazing, and I'm. Is there anything, any last words you can give the Puppy Bowl fans that they can look for?
I hope everybody tunes in, not just at 2 p.m. Eastern, but at 1 p.m. for our pregame. It's you're going to see stuff you've never seen before, and we encourage you. In the meantime, go to puppybowl.com and check out that starting lineup. And there's a lot of players that you might want to watch for on Puppy Bowl Sunday and root for your favorite. Get involved, spread the word. Remember, like I said, if you can't adopt, you can always do something. You can donate, you can advocate. There's always something for you to do. So we encourage and appreciate all the support.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.